Thank you, Ryan. Good morning, everybody. Thank God it's Friday. We're on our last leg. Get to this training, as Yolanda said. This morning should be a very short session. We have two main things to actually look at. We're going to go through a document custodian transfer request, and then we're going to just go through some PTS items on the PTS system. Some of you might not use PTS, but we just thought it would be best to make it a part of the process. So hope everybody's doing well. And again, it's Friday. Hope everybody has their weekend all planned, and hope it's also good weather where you are this morning. So as I said, we'll be doing the introduction. We did that, document custodian transfer request, and then the pool transfer system we're just talking about through. We have some slides that we're going to be using. And then, of course, there's that guy again, Wade Gale from BNY Mellon, working today with James Lee. I don't think Maribel is going to be with us today. I think she might have another assignment, but she's in our heart and she's in spirits with us. Okay, document custodian transfer, Ginnie Mae. Of course, yes, on Wednesday we talked about SFPDM, but there's still some functionality that we still have to do in Ginnie Mae until Ginnie Mae decide to put all these other functions out there on in the My Ginnie Mae space. So for document custodian transfer, that is actually still done in Ginnie Mae, and also recertification. So we're going to talk about, look at the types of document custodian transfer requests, and we're going to do an overview of the system, and then we're going to also give you some more quick tips to go with that. The reason why we choose document custodian as one of our items to highlight, because for the last couple of years it's been a hot topic. There's been a lot of changes. Maybe custodians are going out of business. Issuer decide to consolidate some of their custodians. They might have more than one, so they decide to just downsize to one. So we just thought, and we do get a lot of questions on a daily basis on document custodian transfer. So we just thought it would be best to make it a part of our session. Okay, in reference to the overview, all document custodian transfer requests are done via Ginnie Mae. That's how it is now, and it's going to stay like that until there's a new application for that. There are 4 types of custodian transfer request. There's a complete document custodian transfer. There's a partial document custodian transfer. There's a complete document custodian merger, and there's a partial document custodian merger. And just to give you some more information on that, complete and partial transfer requests, recertification of those transferred pools are due 12 months of the effective date of transfer. So if you're doing a complete or a partial transfer request, the recertification of transfer pools are due 12 months from the effective date of transfer. So just keep that in mind. If you decide to do that, you have 12 months after the date of transfer to do those recertification. Now, if you're doing a merger and this is all approved by Ginnie Mae, mergers that you're within the same company, do not require a recertification of the affected transfer pools, and the status of the pools pre-merger will remain the same. So you don't have to perform a recertification on that. If you're doing a partial merger or a complete merger, new recertification is not required. For those affected pools, the status will remain the same pre the merger transfer. So there will be no recertification for mergers, partial or complete mergers. Just once issuers submit the transfer request, the new document custodian must certify the pending request prior to the specified effective transfer date. And we try to put that there because one of the things we notice most of the time the issuer submits and the custodian or somehow go in and retrieve 2 days, 3 days after the transfer date, that pool, when it actually comes down, or pools are, I should say file, when it actually comes down to the on Ginnie Mae's back end for processing, is going to be rejected because the transfer date has passed. So I would suggest when you're sending this up, speak to the new custodian that this is the date I'm trying to meet for my transfers, and can you accommodate this date? And of course, the custodian might have some concerns because part of the transfer is whatever you're doing the stuff up here on GinnieNet, but there are things going on behind the scenes. You have to make sure you get those documentation to the new custodian so they can actually do their due diligence and check to make sure these are all the pool files that they're getting from the previous custodian. So they have a lot of background work to do too, not only on the system. So they're waiting for those documentation. They're doing their due diligence to check. So you want to make sure, set it up so you have enough time. And also, if there's a deadline because of Ginnie Mae saying these pools must be transferred by such and such, work that out with your custodian so there will be no disconnect there. Okay, this is the GenNet document custodian transfer menu where you actually go to do that process. This is the host communication screen. Document custodian transfer, right where you see that arrow, is once the data is actually set up, you go in and select that and submit off to your new custodian. And as I said, this session is pretty short. We have a demo that we want to show you in reference to how the process works. Just a quick demo. If this is something you have to do now, or it may come to something you have to do in the future. Can someone cue the demo for me, please? I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Is this the right one, Wade?
Is this document?
DC transfer?
I think document custodian transfer, yes. We can use this one too. Okay, the first thing you have to do, you have to log into My Ginnie Mae. Under My Ginnie Mae, you're going to choose GinnieNet. You're going to log into GinnieNet. You know now you don't use another user ID and password. Once you log in, on the data entry, you're going to choose certification. On the certification, you're going to choose common. Under common, you're going to choose document custodian transfer. On that screen that comes up, you're going to click on new. And at that time, it's going to bring up the 4 transfers: complete, partial, complete merger, and partial merger. At this point, you should know which one you're doing. We're going to choose partial. We just want to show you partial. We're going to choose, what we're saying for partial, we're telling you that all your pools are not going to one custodian. So we're going to put in the custodian that the pools are going to. That's the new custodian. We're going to select the custodian. Then we're going to add the pool information. Once the custodian is added, we go over and add the pool. We're doing it manually here, but in the real world, you can actually set up a file to do the entry. We're going to add the pool numbers in a manual form, or you could have just right beside that button, there's an import button. You could actually do an import. We're going to add the pool number. Remember, we're doing partial, so not all our pools are transferred to the new custodian. Some are remaining with the other custodians that we might have. Once that's done, you get that message because you're now setting up another. Where it says existing custodian, you're telling us that you have pool with that custodian and they're not going anywhere. You're telling Ginnie Mae those pools are staying with that custodian, because in my portfolio I have 3 different custodians that will help me with the Ginnie Mae work. I'm transferring some of the pools to the new custodian, and I'm now telling Ginnie Mae that the remaining pools here are remaining with the existing custodian. Nothing is changing. And again, we're doing this manually just for test, but you can also do an import here also. So we have the new custodian, and we have the existing custodian. Once that's done, we go up and we do a save. What I usually suggest, go into reports and print that HUD 11.7.15. That's the new form that shows all the where you'll find all the transaction that we just did. Bring up the report once it's generated. Go to report download. We'll wait until at 11. You see it's in a submit status. Wait until at 11.7.15 is generated. And this is just generated here. Of course, you would have had this 11.7.15 already created on MAMS with the new custodian anyway. So we're waiting for the report to generate so we can actually view it on the screen. And remember, here we're doing a partial. So once this is done, I'll just go through a couple more things just to make sure everybody gets this, because this is where a lot of people tend to make some mistake. Once the report is still print generated, does take a while. It's coming. It's going to change soon. And I hope as we watch it, there are people out there just waiting for that basketball game today against Celtics and the Golden State Warriors. Go Warriors. Okay, so we're about getting ready to do the generation of that report. And what it does is show you all the listing of the pools that we have on there and where the pools are going. So the custodian will get this list. That's the actual form there. Let's kind of bring it up a little bit closer. With the new custodian 077, and of course, if it was submitted and signed, the information, person's name would have shown there on the form. And then the first form tells you this is where these are the pools that are going to be with the custodian, the partial custodian. These are the ones that are going to it's a list 2. All these pools are going to the new custodian. And there's a couple more listing because we had a couple more custodian to go as part of this process. So all these pools, the new custodians 077 should get. And the list 1, these are the existing custodian. These are not going anywhere. Okay. And it should be another list. I think 2 custodians were entered. So this list, actually, when this is done, your custodian does get this form, and they can actually see the pool listing. And this pool listing should also set up with what they currently have in their system. Partial. I'm just going to show you what the listing looks like. And that's basically it for partial. Very simple. We try to make it as simple as possible. But we did partial. I want to talk about complete. Don't have a demo right here for complete, but a lot of times users call us and they want to do a document custodian transfer. They're looking for us for guidance. We're willing to guide you, but we do not want to be the one who's going to tell you that, oh, you need to do a partial, or you need to do a transfer. We want you to or complete. We want you to come with that idea, what you have in mind, because you notice a lot of times people come to us. I want to do a partial. I want to do a no. Let's do it. I want to do a complete. And the way the system works for complete, if you choose complete and you just enter one pool to that new custodian, that's how the system has been set up from document custodian transfer was then. It's very important to know that if you just choose one pool and you choose complete transfer, unfortunately, all your pools, if you have other custodians, will be going to that new custodian. If you choose complete and you just enter one pool, just one. Once you choose complete, all the pools will be going to that new custodian. So you want to be very careful and do it. If it's not a complete, don't do a complete. But we want you to be sure when you come to us. I don't want my team to be the one who's telling you, oh, you need to do a partial. And then when the partial is done, it comes back later that, oh, a partial was done and Wade Gale was the one who walked me through this. We're willing to walk you through it, but we want you to come with the knowledge. You know, I'm doing a partial. How is this done? I have 3 custodians. We're moving some of our portfolio to custodian A, B, and C, but we're still keeping pools under custodian 1, 2, 3, and 3, 4, 5. Can you tell me how to do this? Or you come and say, you know what? We only have 1 custodian and we're doing a complete. We're moving from custodian Wade Gale 222 and we're putting it over to custodian Gale Wade 333. We are doing a complete. That's arranged. The custodian knows that they're getting all the documentation from the Wade Gale custodian that's now going to Gale Wade custodian. So we're sure we're doing a complete. Can you walk me through it? Can you show me? Yes. You know what you're doing. You call us. We are able to do that. But sometimes we get calls and people are not too sure on what they're doing. They were told that they need to do a transfer, but they don't know what kind. And that's when the dilemma comes in, because we, as customer service rep, we can guide you, but we can't tell you what you're supposed to do in terms of what your business decisions are. So we're willing to help, but we want to make sure when we're helping on telling you the right thing. So just want to give you that, because again, if you do partial, you need to put the new custodian that you're sending it to, and you need to also have the custodians that you're not making any changes to. Unfortunately, that's how Ginnie Mae wants it. So you have to list all those other custodians and the pools that remain there. But if you're doing a complete and somehow you just decide to put one pool number in for custodian 222, not all your pools are going to transfer to that new custodian. So you want to be very careful. That happened sometime I think sometime in April, we had we helped someone, but then this week we heard that was the wrong thing. All their pools went to one custodian. So we just want to be careful on that. Some tips. For document custodian transfer or merger, the issuer is required to submit a complete pool list. Yes, you need to submit the complete pool list. But the system, if you put one pool in there, the entire portfolio will transfer. That's why we want to make sure, give you this quick tip here. For partial document custodian or merger, the issuer is required to submit a complete list of pools being transferred, as well as the pool listings for existing custodian. So you put in the pools for the new custodian, but the custodians, you have other custodian, but none of those pools are moving, then you'll have to list those pool numbers per Ginnie Mae, because those are not going anywhere. But the new custodian, the new numbers are going to the new custodian along with the documentation. The issuer should enter the effective date of transfer as a business day of the month, at least 3 days past the current date and not more than 6 months past the current date. So if you're entering something today, you can't put in a transfer date of today. We expect it to do something like next Tuesday or next Wednesday. Also, you want to give your custodian enough time to review the information, check their documentation on the new docs they're getting as new custodian before you actually send a transfer date that they're not going to meet. If you realize that you're not going to meet that date, you have all the ability to go in and edit that transaction. No, stop misleading the people, Wade. You can edit that transaction. You have to delete that transaction. That's what I meant. You have to delete that transaction and then edit, make your change, put in a new transfer date, which that's the date that custodian know they'll have all the documentation in time and do their review and save and submit so they can get it and do their due diligence on their end. They do get a listing of pools. So I would suggest when that listing is sent, they're checking it to make sure that those pool numbers match with the documentation that they got. If a pool is transferred with a final certification pending, when the new issuer completes, the pending final certs, that certification will close out both final certs and the pending certification. Let me go over that again. If you transfer a pool and it's in a final cert status, it's going to close out both the final certification and also the recertification. So that will both you're going to take care of both of them at that time if the pool that you're transferring is in a final certification status. An e-notification of approval or rejection is sent to the issuer and the new document custodian. So look out for that. Sometimes you get notification from us at BNY Mellon say, this pool was not transferred, it was rejected. The reason might have been rejected because the pool might have been terminated. So you don't need to do a transfer pool that has that's already terminated. I see Andy's asking, is there a way once we believe a full transfer has been completed and a new custodian has referred all pools that we can tell that Ginnie Mae is reporting, seen? Well, Andy, there's always an issuer profile report you can print, and then it will tell you right there where the pools are and who the custodian is, and also the status of all your pools on that report. You can find it under the report center. You go in on the pools, I think it's pool transfer system, and you can print some of those reports that give you some of those information. If you're not clear on that, you can always call us and we can walk you through the process. It's best to know there's a pool transfer report that gives you all the status of your pools on Ginnie Mae's system. So you might want to print that after you do a transfer, just to make sure everything was transferred properly. I hope that answers your question, sir. If there's anything else, just put it in the chat. Okay, an e-notification of approval or rejection is sent to issuer and new document custodian. Look out for that. If you're an issuer, something goes out to you. If it's a rejection happens, something also comes to you. Pool listing may be imported or key entered directly in Ginnie Mae. Of course, if your portfolio is small, if you have a small portfolio that you're doing a document custodian transfer and you think it's best for you to just sit and do the pool manually, by all means. But if you have over 3,000, 4,000 pools, more than that, you're doing a transfer, I wouldn't advise you. There's an import file you just want to get. It's just a simple text file with the 6 pool numbers, 6-digit pool numbers. You don't need the issue type or the pool type and do the import. And you want the most important thing, make sure you import the correct pool to the correct custodian. Especially if you're doing a partial. So you just wanna check on that. And of course, check out the Ginnie Mae guide, Ginnie Mae guide on the document custodian transfer from page 89 will give you some information on that. Okay, pool transfer system. We kind of link these together, but one, of course, the document custodian transfer. This is now, if I'm dealing with a new, this is a new, these are new issuers or starting for the first time, or this might not even apply to you at this moment. This is not if you're transferring all of your issuer portfolio from one issuer to the next. So this is where you'll do the transfer in the PTS system, which is also a part of my Ginnie Mae. So I just have some screens and just some information on this system, PTS. We want to explore some pool transfer system and the type of pool transfers. You have the standard pool transfer. That's the selling issuer transfers pool to another issuer by mutual agreement. Then you have the related pool party. Oh, weekend, and you hear the word pool party. Wow, that's a thought. The selling issuer transfer pools to another issuer by mutual agreement. Issuers are related. That's the related pool party. And then you have the merger. The selling issuer transfers all pools to a related issuer due to internal reasons in a business merger. The merging issuer initiate the process. So those are the three. You have the standard pool, the related pool party, and the merger. And of course, we have the pool transfer system for issuers. We have the on page 2, you can make sure you check on that user manual. Just want to give you the transfer process work on the PTS. The PTS provide an automated means for the issuer to do the following. You initiate and update pool transfer request information. You can import and update pool numbers being transferred. You can view and receive the associated approval documentation, approve or reject pool transfers requests from the selling issuer, and you can access and view reports, and you can confirm associated transfer fees. So those are all the things you can do on the pool transfer system. Of course, we all call it PTS as part of the Ginnie Mae world. Everything has an acronym. So anytime you hear pool transfer system and you hear PTS, they're basically talking about the same thing. Okay, pool transfer system. This is just giving you how do you get to pool transfer system. You have to log into the MGM. You're going to choose tools, of course, and on the tools you're going to choose PTS. And from PTS, then you go down and you set the pool transfer system, and then you go in and start doing your processing. So all of this is also part of my Ginnie Mae. It's part of the big picture. Everything is in that house there, the my Ginnie Mae house, and you go in and just click on it. Depends on if it's GennyNet, if it's SFPDM, and do your processing there. Just to give you, we always like to do these. If it's a new system, something you have to learn, we try to give you in 2 ways. We try to give you the quick reference card, so that might work better for you. Or we also try to give you more detail when we present you the user manual, so you can go through that. So we have the quick reference card that just give you the things quickly, quick shot. The request pool transfer screen, the request new transfer, access submission center, view the status, and run report. So that's what the quick reference card consists of in terms of the processing. I told you this was very, very short. I just want to say, if anybody's doing PTS, pool transfer system, you want to make sure you get in touch with our subject matter expert at the office. It's Margaret Williamson. You can always call the 800 number and get Margaret's, and we can also get you to Margaret, or you can send an email to GennieMay1@BNY Mellon. Margaret Williamson is our expert on on the PTS transactions. She is very good. She'll walk you through the process if needs be. And if you're not clear on anything, don't hesitate to call your account executive at Ginnie Mae, because Ginnie Mae has certain policies and certain guidelines that they want to follow. And so they would be the best people to actually articulate those policies for you in terms of using the system, and you want how to navigate and get from A to B. Margaret Williamson can help you on that. I am into Q&A. Is there any other question other than Andy's question? Or is there anything that we discussed? Not even this morning. We talked about the 4 types of document custodian transfer, because that's always a hot topic. Now we went through some of the slides that have to do with PTS. PTS might not even be a part of your world, but that as part of the presentation, we wanna mention that. And I know that Yolanda had mentioned in the survey, or reach out to the appropriate people if you would like to see any topic discussed in terms of the training, so we can get that on schedule for you with Ginnie Mae's approval. Anything that was discussed in session 1 that you are not clear on? You know, Wade Gale has an accent and sometimes he talks fast. Did something just go over your head, or you want any clarification on anything that was said in session 1? Anything that was mentioned in session 2? Just want to give you that opportunity now. And just want to do my own recap. Of course, now everything is done through my Ginnie Mae. And in my Ginnie Mae is looking for each organization to have at least 3 org admins. Very important. 3 org admins. So they're the ones who are responsible to set up their users, provision them with the roles, and then this other org admin is there to do the approval. And then what happens after the approvals are done? We at BNY Mellon will do the finalization. And once the finalizations are done, and it goes and sync up behind the scene, that user have their functional roles set up. So very important. Also, if we have any final certs, any org admin on the line, remember you are responsible you can reset users. If someone is locked out, you have that ability to reset them. And also the users do too, because you can do forget password. But if they're locked out, it's your responsibility. But org admins, if you are locked out, you most likely will have to get to us to unlock you. One more thing about the OMA. I know you get your one-time password. If you're getting your one-time password through your email and you're good with that, that's fine. I just want to encourage you to if you get it on your cell phone, it's much faster. So that's one thing I want to pass along. Commitment authority. If you're issuing pools, make sure you have enough commitment authority to issue those pools. Because what happens when the pools are submitted and certified and downloaded and rechecked, if they're not enough commitment authority, that's going to be a red flag on our system, and it's going to flag us, and we have to get in touch with your account executive saying, issue 1, 2, 3, 4 submitted some pools, but they're short like $100,000 on the last pool, so that pool will not be issued. So it cannot be. So you don't want that to happen. So make sure you have enough commitment when you're setting up your pools. For pool numbers, make sure you have enough pool numbers. Make sure you don't do transpose of any of your numbers, because once you do that, on SFPDM, there's an immediate check. And I think that's such a cool thing. So you won't mess up on SFPDM with an incorrect pool number. But on GenNet, that check was never in, because GenNet is not a youngster. It's an older system. So that check is not there. But we did put that in SFPDM. If you put the wrong pool number and it doesn't belong to you, it's going to tell you right up front. So you won't get a call after that pool is issued. You just can't set up that pool yourself. And your master agreements, pay attention to once October 1st come around, that's when the renewal sessions open. We always encourage users not to wait until the last week because that's always helter-skelter. Either they're not people are not in your shop to do the process because they're on Christmas vacation. So try and get that done early as possible, because what that does for the new year, if you don't have your master agreements on file, it's going to prevent you from doing your January issue pools, and you don't want to start off the year like that. So check on those things. Also, your RSA token, if their name changes, sometimes people get married, sometimes people just did not decide to change their name. You have to make sure you submit those things to us, because there's a link up with all that stuff on the back end. So if there's a name change, if somehow you forget to put on your 11702, you have Wade.Gale, and you enter on MFP, not MFPDM, on my Ginnie Mae Wade Gale, that's going to be a flag. You're going to have a problem submitting because the information doesn't match what's on your 1172. It's so many things you have to look forward, just make sure you are doing them right. And I always encourage users, since we're doing this virtual now, and I can't touch and feel people like if we're actually at a hotel doing a session, just pay attention to certain things, get them done. Maybe you might have a checklist, especially if you're new and you're coming on board. Know the type of pool, know the type of pools you're going to be doing. If you're going to be doing a XSF, single family Ginnie Mae 1, make sure you know what the rules are. Make sure you know how many loans need to be in the pool. Make sure you know the requirement for the first payment date and last payment date. Those little things. If you're doing a multiple pool, make sure you know the cutoff time. Cutoff time is very important in terms of processing. So all those things you just want to make sure you have. I see someone, Phyllis is asking something. We sold the servicing on some pools previously. Would that fall on the PTS? If it was a pool transfer, yes, Phyllis, it would fall on the PTS. So if you want to reach out to Margaret Williamson, you can send Margaret Williamson an email through the GinnieMae1@bnymellon.com. Yes. Thank you for your question, Phyllis. So I'm just trying to see, did I miss anything else? I'm just trying to see if I can give you as much as possible. You know what? One of the most important thing is that I've noticed over the years is that you might think that I call it the Bible, the MBS guide. That's where all the information is. It's laid out there for you. So you have to know those chapters. You have to know what kind of pool loans you're going to put in this particular pool. So you want to read those guides. There are things in there you might not know. There are things in there that sometimes still puzzle me. But that's why we have your account executive. Get to know your account executives at Ginnie Mae. That's one of the good things on SFPD and what we did. On the screen itself, we have who your account executive is and also a phone number. Over the years, I usually ask that question. People say, oh, my account executive is Wade Gale. And I'm like, whoa, Wade Gale, I know he's Jamaican. I know he might have more than one jobs, but I did not know he had so many jobs as AEs. But get to know your AEs, check out their numbers, give them a call if there's anything on policy issues. If there's no policy and you need direction on how to navigate the applications, then my team is there for you. So check out all the resources. The modernized section on Ginnie Mae's website is very good, especially if you're going to be using the PDD and do the XML import. Get to know that. If you need to pass it on to someone, make sure the correct people are able to do that. Oh, and do you want Wade Gill to be your AE? Oh, wow. Who knows? Maybe that can be arranged. I don't know, but that's I like that. And any questions or any other concerns that you need me to go over before we kind of end the session? And one more thing, I just want to make sure this was somewhat helpful to you, give you it was a little bit more insightful, and you can go back and you have learned some things and you can put it to use. And again, I always said, and just if you're not clear on anything, don't hesitate to reach out to us at the 800 number, and send us an email, genmay1 at bnymillion.com. So I'm going to say thank you, everyone. Thank you for your time. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I did not make people wonder what I was saying. Sometimes I do rush, but I hope it was enjoyable. I hope you learned things. And I want to wish everybody a happy and safe and enjoyable weekend. And just be safe and be good. Thank you. And Yolanda, it's all yours.